Joining us now is Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island. He's a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Senator, what was your reaction to the White House decision today?
More weirdness out of this Supreme Court. In one sense, it's a nothing of a decision because there were two lower court proceedings. One was brought by the Democrat attorneys general. That covered the states of those attorneys general. That was the one where the order was stayed. But there's another one that was brought by advocacy groups that covers all 50 states. And that order still stands. So it really doesn't have much effect. And in the ordinary course, and in front of an ordinary court, you'd think, okay, no big deal. But the fuss in this case that caught all of the Republican justices' attention was the difference between a proposed order and a final order, which is a fairly minor technicality. Against that are 50 states with state-run elections and state election officials who have to prepare for an election in November and who are entitled to know what the rules are going to be about mail-in ballots sooner rather than later. And when you put those two things in balance, you'd think it would easily come down on just waving off that decision, particularly when the final rule is, in fact, now out. And then you get into the background of all of this, which is postmasters general have never had a role in elections. The states have a role in elections. So it's a huge shift from state to federal power, and it gives an election authority to an individual who's never had it before. And then, of course, it's a prior restraint on access to the mail for certain voters. And it's really always been the case. I used to prosecute mail fraud cases. The thing goes through the mail first. Then you prosecute the mail fraud. You don't try to stop people from using the mail, bar them categorically. Even if they're criminals, you pursue them after the mail fraud. And here they're going after ordinary voters, which raises the whole context of President Trump's election interference scheming. And in the context of a court that will come up with crazy decisions like presidential immunity when it's not in the Constitution, and do false fact-finding about dark money to keep its Citizens United decision rolling, it's really hard not to feel a little reverberation of anxiety that this is a court that, once again, is up to no good for a political motive.
So there's a line in there about time will tell. Basically, time will tell if Donald Trump wants to commit a crime here. They say that, of course, that this ruling doesn't mean that any measure taken by the government to implement the order will necessarily be lawful. On that score, time will tell. Time will tell if Donald Trump wants to do something illegal with the elections. And the idea that they had the rule from the Postal Service on Friday, and they still published this opinion on Monday, pretending they don't know what's in it, pretending time will tell what's in the ruling that was issued Friday.
Yeah, I mean, it's really quite bizarre and even, pretty sloppy. You'd think that they would say that they knew this, but they're going ahead knowing that the second round of litigation on this will be there shortly. But why butt in the first place right now, unless what you want to signal is that a plainly illegal executive order by Trump is something that we will stroke our chins and consider seriously as if this was something legitimate going on. And, of course, adding uncertainty to the elections for 50 different states' election officials really helps serve the election disruption purposes of this administration.
Senator, please stay with us. We're going to fit in a commercial break here. And when we come back, I want to ask you about Donald Trump's new war, this one against Canada. We'll be right back with Senator Whitehouse.